A quick way to jumpstart your mind is to ask these simple questions. If I could, would I live forever? Answer yes or no. If I could, would I be rich? Answer yes or no. And just answer these quickly, not without too much thought. If I were rich, how rich would I be? If I would, if I could, would I be married? And remember, this is whether you're married or not. And it doesn't mean you run out and divorce your spouse either if you write no. If I could, would I live in the city or the country? Would I have a big house or a small house? Would I live alone or with a family? Asking simple questions to ourselves allows us to see a lot of times that we are exactly where we want to be. A lot of times the situations going on that are feeling overwhelming are actually within us. Every day on a regular basis, especially lately in this world, we feel extremely overwhelmed and we find it extremely hard to navigate our own lives. Being told that our external creates our internal reality allows us to feel even more out of control. There are solutions to this. And yes, they take time and they take practice because we've spent our whole lives practicing to work within society belief systems and our egos. So yes, it's going to take time to balance it, but it's not going to take a lifetime to add in something new. It's going to take a short time because this way of thinking is actually natural to us. So take a moment. When you say, I love my life, what's your ego's response? Does it right away say, oh, no, I don't? Or do you feel a subtle, yeah, I do? When you say, if I could change anything, I would. Jot those things down. If I could change anything, I would work a different job. Okay, let's move that into reality. What job would you do? What would it take you to get that job? Do you need extra education? Your ego, by the way, will be throwing up roadblocks left, right, and center. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. But you don't know because you didn't start walking the path. Remember, it starts internally before it can go externally. So if you show yourself and imagine yourself doing a job that you'd really like to do, and you say to yourself, I believe it's possible, don't attach yourself to the goal. Begin to walk on that path. Do the research. It's not going to hurt anybody. Well, if I do all the research and do all that work and then I don't end up doing it, then I'm just doing things, for no reason. But it was still for a good reason. You took a chance. Remember, that would still already be doing something you've never done before. True. So try it. There is nothing wrong with thinking different things. Some people believe that every thought we think turns into reality. But as I stated before on the other show, then we'd all be millionaires. What our thoughts do is create what we think we see. That's the truth of law of attraction. We create our external reality through our internal thought. But most of the time, we aren't thinking about what we're thinking. We aren't thinking, I am perfect, I'm whole and complete, and I love my life, while the ego is still complaining at the same time, of course, while we're feeling all of our emotions on top of that. No. We're worried about what everybody else is doing and what's going to happen tomorrow. And tomorrow hasn't come. When you truly live in the here and now, and we've heard that statement too, you aren't actually thinking about what's happening. You're allowing yourself to perceive how you feel. It's not an actual action of thought. You aren't thinking about walking. You aren't thinking about talking. You're simply existing. And some people say, well, if I'm just existing, that's not living. But when you're existing with everything enacted, that is more than living. When you are so in tune with everything around you, it's larger than life. When you love your life, love who you are, and are accepting of every situation, no matter how hard, it's bigger than life. Even if you're working a job simply for money, you're doing it with your eyes wide open. You're doing it as a means to an end. You are no longer a victim. You know what you are doing. You accept what you are doing is right for you right now. You don't feel locked in a box and someone has thrown away the key, and you don't feel out of control. When we accept the way we are right now, we know everything is okay. Well, that seems like a direct contradiction from the first thing you said about writing the exercise about being someone who I'm not. And yes, you know what? If you take it that way, it sure does. But when we open our mind to the possibilities and allow ourselves to see ourselves in a way that has changed our external beauty, we find a lot of times that external beauty and what other people see isn't exactly what we want either. When we can actually accept what other people perceive as a flaw or what we perceive as a flaw and understand that it's exactly the way I want to be right now, or if we say, I don't want that anymore, I for sure don't want that, and walk on the same path as I said with the job. Okay, let's say you want a nose job. You hate your nose. So you start to actually walk on the path of doing the research to find out how much it would cost, what doctor you would like, everything about the plastic surgery. Allowing yourself to decide whether or not you want it later, you will find out what suits you. Maybe you actually do want to lose some weight. Then become proactive. But don't lose the weight because you think you're not enough. Unless you do. Never do it for a reason because you think you're incomplete or wrong. Get in your own corner. Say, you know what? I absolutely love you. Exactly the way you are. But I will support you in your choices. Become your own advocate. Become your own friend. Don't see the flaws as a problem. Don't see them as flaws at all. Your ego will always see them as flaws. That's the other part of us, and that's just the way it is. Ego's purpose has been served. Now it's time to get behind you. There's many ways to support yourself while you're on this journey. And listening to other people sometimes isn't always the best. Talking to other people about your problems often creates confusion, unsolicited advice, and ends you up without any solution at all. If you're wanting to talk to people about what you're feeling and what you're going through, if you talk in a solution-oriented manner, and if you allow yourself to talk through issues to people who actually allow you to talk solutions rather than just straight drama, you will find that you do have your solutions and that you are supporting yourself. Yes, there are days where we all just want to get down and wallow in the mud, and that's perfectly fine. But if we allow ourselves to do it every day, then again, we're not watching what we're thinking. And what's happened is we've allowed our external to create our internal again, and we've decided we're victims. We are not victims. We do not need other people to rush to our aid to pick us up and lift us up and save us. It's true. The one person you need is you. Well, AuKeeRa, what happens when I feel I just can't get out of bed in the morning? Tell you that you love you. Tell you you believe in you. And tell you that you will be beside you every minute of every day. Then remind yourself what you believe to be true within your faith. And you will see you're not alone. You are never, ever alone. Yes, but everything seems to be going wrong. Balance that thought with, it's happening for a reason. And even if I don't like it, I know somewhere, somehow, it's still happening for a reason, for my highest good. There are things we can choose to think that even in the most dire situations bring us balance and peace. They allow us to accept and somehow be grateful for what's happening in our world, and therefore deepen the faith that we have that personally works for us. The reality you think creates the reality you see. And remember, nothing has to actually physically change for the way that you think to change. If you decide your house is the most beautiful home you've ever seen, the feeling in your house will change. If you decide you're the most beautiful person you have ever seen in your life, the confidence you begin to exude is not one of better than, but it's one of self-respect. Remember, we're all relative. We're all equal. Nobody's better. Nobody's worse. Every situation is relative to the other. We are equal. And when we see that we are the best person we can be at this time, and our life is exactly what it's supposed to be right now, the gratitude that we develop is beyond anything we could ever possibly imagine. And we begin to live in a way that we could never fathom. Yes, judgment of others still stays. That's ego's one thing that will always do. Judgment of self still stays. But faith comes into play in a way that you've never seen it before. Belief in the self comes into play in a way that you've never seen it before. Your life comes into play. It turns into something. Remember, nothing external has changed. But it becomes something you now feel a part of, grateful for, that you want to have happen every day. You begin to see yourself and everybody around you in a different manner. As soon as you see you as this person, as perfect, whole, and complete, allowed to have bad days, allowed to run into brick walls at 60 miles an hour, allowed to sit there and think, oh, I just can't handle this. When you accept every single part of you, immediately you are able to accept every part of everybody else. Do you know how empowering that is for other people? You no longer see this world as having victims. You know somehow that everybody is capable, and yes, we do get help when we need it. And yes, you can ask for help when you need it. That doesn't mean we're less. But what it changes is the think that we need to go and fix everybody around us. It changes the thought that we need to fix ourselves. We are who we are right now. We're going to grow. We're going to change. Change is inevitable. It's the one constant of the universe. Acceptance is what is required. Acceptance of the self, acceptance of the change, acceptance of the external reality. Acceptance is very important. We'll talk about this more when we get back.